Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, taking a fun and exciting video for you guys today because I'm giving you an advanced preview on a game demo that's going to be out on Steam in about 36 hours. A big thanks to Retroware for sending over this actual code so I can preview it before it goes to the live demo. This is developed by Programancer, and honestly I could say right now there's a brand new Castlevania game out, but that isn't true whatsoever. This is the Transylvania Adventure of Simon Quest. It's a mouthful to say and I screwed it up about 5 times, but honestly this is a love letter to what Castlevania was on the NES and basically the idea of what Simon's Quest could have been. I went into this demo thinking, well, you know what, this is a genre I like, so I might be actually more critical on it than I normally would because we've all played a ton of different Castlevania quote-unquote clones and different Metroidvania games, and there's always something about them you think to yourself, it just makes me want to go back and play a Castlevania game. Well, I am here right now to tell you this is not a review, this is just a preview, but if the developers take this and turn it into a full game and keep the quality the same, then we are in straight up Hall of Fame first ballot 10 out of 10 level shit on this one, because I absolutely from start to finish love the Transylvania Adventure of Simon Quest. It is fun, it is creative, it has a ton of different hidden areas and secret paths even in the demo, and the storyline is absolutely tongue-in-cheek hilarious and kind of feels like a riff on something like an actual Castlevania storyline. I'm not saying it's the scary movie of something like Castlevania, but I am saying they're highly creative with how the story is told and how it kind of plays around with the Castlevania formula. And as far as the overall gameplay is concerned, I'll definitely talk about that in depth, but this is absolutely everything you need out of a Castlevania style game, nothing more and nothing less. And honestly, the level layout is very creative. It leads you by the hand to teach you just enough to understand what it is you can do, and then leaves the levels open to your interpretation of where you think you might want to go next. So much so that I decided to actually use my initial playthrough capture going in blind, and I ended up actually getting a secret area or a hidden area and beating a sub-boss that opened up a different part of the demo. And I just did that blind by read and feel, not something that was told to me when this demo was sent. Because honestly, even if developers and publishers send something like an actual press kit, I will still play and capture the game before I read anything about it, and then I will take a peek before I do my voiceover, because I want to treat these things like you would going in, knowing nothing other than it exists, and then deciding from there what it is that I think about it. And you'll see here, this is how I actually got off the beaten path and ended up in a different sub-boss area, but we'll get back to that in just a little bit. But what I really love about this, and again, not really a spoiler because it is the intro to the game, is the overall inciting incident as to why we're on this quest in the first place. That is because somebody who was training to be a vampire killer to go and actually kill Dracula waited around a little bit too long, and somebody else named Simon, who I wonder who that could be, actually decided to come in and do it himself, basically taking all the glory away from our main character. So when somebody else comes in and steps on your toes when it comes to killing Dracula, and this scene right here, 10 out of 10 depiction of Dracula's death, I absolutely love it. What is it that you would personally do? I'd probably just go and apply for a new job, but honestly our hero of the story here decides that the best thing to do is recapture his glory and go around collecting pieces of Dracula to resurrect him and then kill him again. It is absolutely an ego trip story, and it is an absolutely amazing pivot on what you would expect a Castlevania style storyline to be, and that tongue-in-cheek nature really hooked me in before I even hit start, because I love the overall kind of absurd nature of it, and because it is playing around with the overall formulaic idea of what Castlevania 2 was on the NES. Of course you're going to get an overworld where you're going to go between different buildings trying to find those pieces of Dracula. Now again, this is just a demo, and I'm sure the developers have a lot of secrets and fun things in store that even I haven't seen, but going through this demo is absolutely stunning, and we'll get into the graphics and overall presentation after the first soundtrack break, but I will say the parallax scrolling here, absolutely amazing, 10 out of 10 as well. If you can't tell already, I absolutely love the idea of this game, and as a preview, I'm absolutely hungry to be able to play this and review it for release date, because this one just hits like a lot of other modern retro games haven't been hitting exactly how I want to lately. And speaking of soundtrack, it's my very lazy segue to get us to the first soundtrack in the game. Absolutely incredible music as well. So I'll go ahead and listen for like 45 seconds or so, and I'll be right back with a lot more gameplay. So the music's going for that classic NES styling, as is the color palette, but of course we're getting a lot more sprites on screen at once. We're getting full widescreen, and we're getting a graphical quality that you're not going to get on the NES. But as far as all the colorways are concerned and everything else that makes up the imagery of this game, it absolutely has the Nintendo Entertainment System or Famicom written all over it, and that is a very fun foundational vibe. I kind of like this being the 8-bit aesthetic versus trying to go into something like the 16-bit aesthetic, because even though obviously it's trying to be a really fun pivot on the Castlevania 2 formula, the developers could have still picked any art style. And you'll see here, this is a sprite that absolutely could not exist on the NES. This is the first boss I encountered, and this is the secret area boss, giant enemy crab. And absolutely just some stunning artwork. That really is my first takeaway of the game when I first started playing it. Yes, it feels like Castlevania. Yes, it is fun, but the artwork, the colorways, the sprites, and the personality of this game are just straight up on point, and I absolutely love it for that. And again, this is just a demo that I am previewing. There's going to be a hell of a lot more in the finished game, and I can't wait to be able to play and enjoy something like that. And as far as the boss is concerned, yes, it's an earlier boss, so it's not the hardest thing in the world to understand the pattern, but the fight is pattern based, and you might die the first time, but then you're going to be able to actually screen read it and understand intuitively what it is you're supposed to do, because this again was my first blind playthrough and my first encounter with the boss. On the second encounter, I was able to beat him with no issues whatsoever, and I can't wait to see what other bosses this game has in store, because this thing is absolutely stunning, and it's just the first one you could potentially encounter in a demo. And now of course in demos they try to show some of the best stuff off, but I think in a finished game we're probably going to be seeing everything get bigger and bolder and even more exciting. And of course we got a piece of Dracula now, the rib, so we can move on with our quest. And as we move into the forest area again, these browns, these oranges, these greens, and the parallax scrolling and all the skeletons, it just, again, is such an incredible looking thing. And that really is the thing when you're trying to harken back to the retro aesthetic of what graphics were in the 8-bit era. It takes a deft hand on the artist side of things to actually be able to get that 100% correctly. And I love this dude here, this merman wearing a mask, or at least I think he's a merman, telling us that you can't go here any further because it is just a demo. They created custom scenarios and even graphics just to let you know that it's a demo of a full game coming out soon, and I love that little extra touch. But a lot of times the art department doesn't get as much credit as they deserve, and don't get me wrong, the game designers here are doing an excellent job of making a really fun game, but I think the most successful thing, at least in my opinion, and again, MFA in fine art, so I am very partial to it, is the graphics here and the art team have just absolutely done maybe one of the best modern takes on a retro Castlevania style game I've seen in recent years. Let's do one more soundtrack sample, because again, the music team doing an excellent job as well, and then I'll come back and show you just a little bit more of the gameplay footage. But this is definitely one you should be hyped about, and again, it's going to be out on Steam in demo form in about 36 hours. But enjoy this music and I'll be right back. I mean, the music just straight up fits the vibe of what this game is trying to be, and I absolutely love it for it. As I get into this town area, there's going to be shops not open right now, but of course there's going to be a church where you can get extra information. And of course, because it is nighttime, you can actually rest to the daytime. We're going to have some zombies in the town as well, and I love that they even put a doghouse in there. But developers, if you're listening, make that interactable and have a small sprite pop out, a dog that we can pet, because that's something that I would probably give you an 11 out of 10 on if this was actually a real review. And sometimes I think to myself, do publishers and game developers actually send these to me? Because I am notoriously optimistic and try to find the best in everything. But honestly, on this one, I can tell you, this is a very fun demo, and I can't wait to play the finished game. Because I grew up with Castlevania, as did many of you on the channel, and even though there's a lot of developers and actual people out there trying to make the next Castlevania game, the Transylvania adventure of Simon Quetches absolutely excels at every single thing that it needs to do to make this every bit as good as an actual Castlevania experience, and in some ways a hell of a lot better. And because I just love Castlevania, this is just something that absolutely for me 100% hits. But you leave me a comment down below and you tell me, did you know this game was even in development? And are you excited to play the demo now that you've seen this preview video? And trust me, when this game is ready for review, whenever the embargo lifts, it'll be something you'll be seeing on the channel because I want to play more of this. I play a lot of games that are sent to me in demos and in full versions, and if there is a new big retro game coming out and you don't see me review it on the channel, that just generally means I didn't like it. I don't really spend time making reviews to tell you guys I don't like something. That is kind of the video game esoteric or quote-unquote negative review. If you think I was going to talk about it and I didn't, that means it wasn't for me. I didn't care to actually make the video. But as far as this one is concerned, 10 out of 10 fun demo. You'll be able to play it in about a day and a half, and I definitely recommend you do so. But short of that, we're done, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.